Oh, it's a little morning video. Woohoo! Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the 5G conspiracy and why Daddy Muda is not exactly the happiest man in comparison to it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I like a good conspiracy theory. Don't get me wrong. I love conspiracies. But the problem with the 5G conspiracy is that it is complete bollocks. Now, let's just start off by saying this much, okay? 5G, before we get into it, let's just do the actual smart thing and talk about what it is. 5G is a new method of communication technology. Yes, it's a set of technologies because it uses three technologies to make up the 5G component. Now, there's three types of it. Number one is 5G millimeter, which is what we're targeting today specifically. It is the strongest form of 5G, where it uses 24 to 72 gigahertz channels to send out a massive amount of data, but it does not have a lot of range, meaning that you have to have more 5G cell towers to reach a certain location than traditional methods. But with that, you get a much more stronger signal and a much more faster connection. You technically have faster data throughput than just using Ethernet at this point. That is what makes 5G super exciting. And in a world where everything is connected to the internet, 5G is a necessity. Now, 5G midband is what's mostly going to be used, which is technology that can currently be upgraded into current existing cell towers, which makes it much more cheaper, and it's a general big upgrade over what we have right now anyways. Then you have 5G low band, which is effectively the best form of 4G that's out there. So 5G is a range of speed, but we're specifically focused on that top-end millimeter 5G. Now, I've been seeing a lot of conspiracy theories about 5G being the cause for the global pandemic around the world, and 5G is slowly but surely wasting human beings away. Now, this is an interesting claim that I've seen used time and time again. Now, let's talk about radiation, which is something that we're all covered by. If you're scared of something like 5G, then you should be scared by Wi-Fi routers, Wi-Fi 6, all the telecommunications devices around you at any given moment that could be transmitting these radiations out there. Your cell phone radiation may just be more dangerous than the cell tower 5G radiation you're going up against. But radiation, again, might remind you, exists everywhere. Are you playing a Nintendo Switch? Congratulations, your hand is fucking smoking in telecommunications radiation right now. Your PlayStations, your Xboxes, your devices, your televisions, fuck, even your car has a Wi-Fi hotspot at this point in today's day and age, so everything is enveloped with an RFID radiation signal out there. Now, 5G is using something called millimeter, right, which is the one thing that scares a lot of people because they equate it to things like cancer or directed energy weapons, but the reality of it is that this is non-ionizing radiation, meaning that this radiation isn't designed specifically, or it's not radiation that's going to rip electrons out or anything. That kind of radiation is X-ray or gamma radiation. And X-ray radiation is something that we use medically, but we're very careful with to at least limit exposure to an extent. It's dangerous radiation, but it has a useful applicable purpose. The non-ionizing radiation of 5G is way less dangerous than that of the sun. And you go out in the sun all the time, I fucking hope. Now, here is the ICNIRP, which is the International Commission of Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection. This is an organization, a watchdog group, yes, a watchdog group that works with various agencies around the world to ensure that it actually meets up standards and makes sure that all of us are safe from this kind of technology. Now, when they launched 5G, they actually upgraded their protocols all the way from the late 90s to cover not just 5G, but all new forms of communication out there. And they found that there is no evidence of harm. Apart from some heating of human body tissue, yes, that exists, there was no evidence of harm. We also considered all other types of effects, for instance, whether radio waves could lead to the development of cancer in the human body, said Mr. Van Rongen. We find that the evidence, the scientific evidence for that is not enough to conclude that indeed there is such an effect. That is them putting it out there. And trust me, they did their research. Not only that, but the WHO, the World Health Organization, which if you've been following the pandemic, a lot of the information is vetted from them. So again, to be completely impartial, if you trust them for that, you should trust them for this too. They said, where is this? Electromagnetic fields in cancer or just hypersensitivity. Despite many studies, the evidence for any remain highly controversial. However, it is clear that if electromagnetic fields do have an effect, then an increase in risk will be extremely small. The result to date contains many inconsistencies, but no large increase in risk have been found for any cancer in children or adults. And that's just them analyzing electromagnetic fields since they become a phenomenon in our daily lives. So again, these are two agencies that have done their fucking research to make sure that this stuff isn't going to harm us. And like I said, the only complaint that governments have with 5G is more in surveillance, where you've got the US and China basically shitting on each other to make sure they can be the world leader and supplier for 5G technology so they can have their respective backdoor and whatnot. As far as the health considerations go, these people have not found any conclusive evidence. Now, interestingly enough, this is a video by a channel called VTudio, which basically covers 5G stuff, and it's not like a bad channel or anything. I'm not like throwing them under the bus, but there's something that they uploaded which just kind of shocks me a little bit. Now, let's go back to the fucking beginning of this, where they show you this, like, multi-field EMF meter, right? Now, I'm going to show you where they have this, multi-field EMF meter. This is an RF sensor that they bought, okay? I don't know where they ended up getting it from, probably fucking Amazon or some shit. But this is a measurement range, and you can see on the back, electric field RF strength, 50 megahertz to 3.5 gigahertz. So it's still slightly under the 5G mid-band requirement. But that being said, it may cover a lot of the electromagnetic fields anyways. It may not cover entirely the 5G spectrum, but let's go a little bit further in the video and see what the fuck they're doing with it. Now, they're in city streets right now where they have this 5G cell tower that's firing off, and as they bring up their device real quick, they just zoom into it real first, just show you what's going on. They show you this device, and it's calculating magnetic field, electric field, and then the important number is RF strength. Now, a lot of people look at this and say, oh shit, I'm getting the cancers from it. They're calculating fucking signal strength. Their signal strength, okay? You know why people do this? It's when you're setting up these fucking towers and you're in town square like, oh shit, look at that, we're getting good signal. Hey Billy, how about you get inside that building and check the signal there? Oh shit, Bob, I ain't getting signal in the building. All right, better get back to the drawing board. That's why they use these kind of tools to calculate if the signals are penetrating or if signals are reaching in general. Or, hey Billy, I ain't getting a fucking signal, period. I think the tower's busted. Well, that might just be it. That's why those tools exist. They don't bring them out and say, oh shit, dude, there's a lot of cancer in the street. Look at that, premium cancer. That device is calculating non-ionizing radiation. You know what that radiation is? It's way less intense than the fucking sun. Okay, so the fact that you're out in the sun doing it shows you that that thing up there in the sky, that little boy right there, more dangerous than the 5G tower that you're claiming is more dangerous than that. I'm just putting it out there. That's a fucking fact right there. Now, it's interesting to see people compare like the pandemic we go through. Look, COVID was first discovered in the 30s. Human versions were discovered in the 60s. 5G wasn't there in the fucking 60s, let me tell you, okay? You know what was there in the 60s? A different time. That's what, okay? A much, much different time. Now that being said, okay, let's go and do a quick bit of fact checking. Now, one of the people that people have been tossing out here, one of the claims is that Wuhan, oh shit, that Wuhan was the place where the 5G was rolled out first. That's where COVID started. Let me tell you something about China, okay? China is a big fucking country. China has a lot of cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. If you've never heard of these cities, I suggest you read a fucking book. These are multiple big cities in China that launched 5G simultaneously to test the technologies. And guess what? 5G existed in the States too, to an extent as well too. You know where 5G doesn't exist? Italy, Iran. Okay, guess what? Those countries are hit the fucking worst too. Now, this basically shoots it down the theory that 5G is the sole cause, because then you're just cherry picking what you want. And the reality is it has no correlation to any of that. 5G wrecks immune systems. That's why people in Wuhan are suffering with this illness. Yeah, we just looked at all the evidence anyways. There was no exact correlation. And if there was a link to it, trust me, we'd be tearing it down to begin with. You think the world would destroy the economy overnight by using 5G technology? Bro, we'd be nuking those towers out of the fucking sky. Let me tell you, that's what would be happening, okay? Not every conspiracy is true. Conspiracies need to follow the event of obtaining power and gaining money. And right now, everyone is in a goddamn standstill, no matter how rich, poor, powerful, powerless you actually are. What I'm concerned most about this pandemic is things like surveillance hitting us, and that's my only complaint with 5G. I wish the technology was way more open and every country had sort of their say in it rather than 2, 3 superpowers that exist in the world. That's my only complaint. The health concern makes me giggle my pee-pee off. Like, it's not existent, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just gonna put it out there, okay? Listen. I follow technology a lot, I work with it a lot, and I'll tell you this much about 5G or any radio RF technology out there. A lot of people making these claims have no idea about how RF tech works in general. And you're gonna listen to facts from them? Come on, dude, get the fuck out of here. Don't fall into this shit. Don't get into this conspiracy theory nonsense. Because what you're seeing over here is just non-existent anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, 5G is an upgrade to the technology we have. In a world where everything is connected, it's the technology we need going forward. Everybody that's falling into the pit of conspiracy theories and blaming something right now, you have way too much fucking time on your hand, which I don't blame because we're quarantined as shit. But because you have too much free time on your hand, you also have enough free time to fact check for your fucking self. You don't need me to do it. You can do it yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, 5G is just that, a communications platform out there. It's been tested, it's been regulated, it's been put through this, it's been put through its paces to see how dangerous it is and it isn't. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fucking future. Do not plunge us into the dark ages because some dude on Reddit threw out some crazy crackpot conspiracy theory. That being said, you make conspiracy theorists look bad in general. This is me, Mutahar. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.